The best 4-2-3-1 custom tactics on FC24 to score goals and win more games. Defensive style, we're going balanced. Width is 39, depth is 44, build-up play is balanced, and chance creation is direct passing. For our attacking width, we go 55. Players in box is 6, corners and free kicks is 2. Your player instructions are going to work like this. Striker on stay forward. All of your attacking mids on balanced. Your right centre defensive mid, the more defensive one, on stay back while attacking, cut passing lanes and cover centre. And your box to box centre mid is on cover centre. Your fullbacks are on stay back while attacking. Now, time to explain how to actually use this formation and custom tactics in game. So the ball comes out wide to a demi, and this is an area on FC24 that is pretty strong, trying to work down towards the wing. You can see our defensive line here. One thing to take note is that, yes, we're running 44 depth. Regardless of when you have the ball, your team is going to sit on the halfway line, all right? Depth only comes into play when you lose the ball and when the opponent starts to build into the transition. So what I'm thinking about here is trying to keep a high line. I've done an offside trap, as you can see in the bottom left of the screen, by pressing down on the D-pad. And we understand that a demi is more than likely going to want to possibly run or look for a pass kind of on the inside, which is why you can see me grab Diaz already to kind of pull him back to try and press in from here and cover off any passing lanes into the middle, and then obviously have Arnold there ready for the drive when it comes. Now, I do hold second man press, which is a little bit of a mistake because it does pull my right centre back over slightly. I wanted the second man press to come in on Arnold before I switch to him. But now it's about, okay, how do we deal with this scenario? I switch off Trent Alexander-Arnold. I grab Canate to run him back. And then I second man press, which is where you hold the R1 button on PlayStation, RB on Xbox. What it means is that now I'm moving my defender back in a more defensive positioning and I'm pressing the ball holder. I then switch back to try and catch him off guard. He takes one slight touch on the inside and immediately I switch to the player in the middle in case that touch on the inside meant he's going to try and lay for that pass. Now, he doesn't go for that, so that's not a problem, but I've already moved my centre mid kind of there ready, trying to make it really difficult for this opponent to play through. Now, he tries to come forward, and this is an area where FC24, you kind of have to get it right, and it's a stand-up. I tried to tackle, I mistime it, I don't get there, and now it looks like we're in trouble. So what can we do here? Well, we have to bring Canate over. Now, this isn't like, a be-all and end-all, but it does mean that there is going to be a bit of a gap where our centre back is going to come. So you can see him come over. I kind of hold slightly, and then it's about now, okay, I need to go. I get side by side. I use the new advanced defending tool, which is in your controller settings, where you hold X on our PlayStation, A on Xbox, and I just shoulder barge a demi off the ball, put a little bit of trouble into there for him, making it difficult for him to get through. So we didn't panic. There was a few mistakes there, but there was a few areas where we were happy with that defensive line. One of the reasons why I think the 4-2-3-1 is so good is because it's the ability to play triangles with 3 players and to just link up so simple. Now, the ball comes into Sané. We're going to go back into that centre defensive mid role because we have our centre defensive mids. They sit just a little bit deeper, meaning if the opponent is running centre defensive mids, there is a bigger gap between these players, right? If the opponent here was running, say, a 4-4-2, these players might be sat just a little bit higher, but it does mean you have a bit more room in between the midfield and the defense. So it's kind of, whichever way you want to look at it, but still a great opportunity for us to link up and use triangles. The ball goes into the centre mid. Now we're going to look to go into Diaz, looking to link up really, really well with one another. Occupy that space, we lay that ball through, and then Diaz has that opportunity. We lay that one back, little player look, a really, really well worked goal, and one of the reasons why the 4-2-3-1 is so good. Again, using the out ball of Sané, kind of drawing in that fullback. And now, what can we do? At the minute on FC24, the byline drive running in towards the 18-yard box is so strong with the controlled sprint. It's so good. Well, why don't we look for something a little bit different? We don't always have to go for the most obvious play. And yes, we want to go for the byline on the occasions. Of course we do. This is what the opponent is scared of. So now we can kind of go, we're going to do the opposite of that. We're going to look to occupy in the middle, look to go into the striker. So a little ball roll here by pushing the right analog stick up as you can see on there, for half a second, letting go of sprint button, just going up, and then finding that pass into Kolo Muani. Unfortunately, I bottled the finish again. I thought he'd do goalkeeper movement, but he didn't. But still, a great opportunity. We picked the ball up in the center mid. Using your fullbacks as a quick out pass is so easy. When you win the ball, the people that are majority, the people that are mainly going to be free is going to be your fullbacks, okay? So let's look to use them as and when we can. We then transition that ball over. What do we do here? So this is a big thing, and we're going to rewind this and we're going to look at this. This is something that, yes, we have direct passing on. It comes into account in the final third, but it's about what can we do in the build-up in the middle of the park. I already know here, okay, I've got some space. Look at this. We can see we've got some space for Enzo Fernandez to drive into. So I have pointed my left analog stick, which is down here at Sané, and tapped L1, LB on Xbox. Now Sané is going to run into an attacking area. He's actually going to move. If you leave this to the AI, sometimes they're going to go, sometimes they're not. Take ownership of it yourself if you can. And then it's about, okay, we can go forward. We can look to drive. Sané goes, he goes. We go for that through ball, even though the opponent is tracking it. And that's something I really recommend at the minute. Not necessarily the opponent tracking it, but through balls, super strong. Just normal triangle balls on PlayStation, Y on Xbox. They're so good. Look to use them. Then we go for some little tight dribbling. We're trying to draw in that opponent, and then the controlled sprint, driving into this area again, and then trying to find that cutback. Unfortunately, we don't get it, but you can see how that can work in those areas. An area to focus on in the 4-2-3-1 when defending is using your center defensive mids as much as you can, trying to occupy the space in the middle to protect your center back, to try and cover off the pass from the striker, but also to be wary of any passes back into the danger area. Ademi again up against Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he's working the byline, he doesn't go for it, cuts back in. We go for that switch into Konate just in case he tries that pass. But now it's about, okay, I can grab my center mid. What am I worried about here? I'm worried about him driving on the inside. I'm worried about him taking a touch, maybe trying to force it into the middle to then kind of go up and up. So we're there, we're ready, we're kind of active on it. We close that angle down slightly, then as soon as he takes that touch on the inside again, we come in and make that tackle. Being active with your center mids is really good. Now, what do we do here? This is again coming out into the midfield and kind of building into the transition. I actually play a lot, which is where I press the left stick and the right stick in at the same time. We've got a video coming on this on Sunday. It will be our attacking video, and I'll try and put it back up here if I remember to do that after this video. And basically what we're doing is we're saying this is the most obvious play. Again, we spoke to you about how going into the middle can be a little bit risky. So then I grab Kolo Muani to bring him into this space. And this is something your striker can do. You can even just do this yourself. You don't need to play a lock in every single scenario. So the opponent, if we keep an eye on the cursor, is going to go and press that passing lane, then press the ball holder. So let's go for the opposite play. Let's make it difficult for the opponent to read, giving us a big out ball, running into the channels. Madison will then occupy the space that Kolo Muani has left. As you can see him driving into the 18-yard box. Then it's about what can we do? We just wait. We do some little bit of dribbling, get a little bit lucky, but turning defense into attack really well. Now, we won the ball in this defensive area, and it's about how we transition into the midfield and then into the attack. And the 4-2-3-1 is probably one of the best formations for you to transition out. It's so strong. It's got so many options. Now, we go for the out ball here with square. When you have centre backs that have decent play styles where you can go for a lob pass like Katena does, we can just pick out towards the wings. One thing I really want you to be mindful of in the 4-2-3-1 is when you're coming out from the press, you're coming out when you've just won the ball, be careful of going straight into the middle. All right, sometimes it can just be better to go out towards into the wing. Now we pick that ball up and then we look, can we go forward? No, we fake it, we come on the inside, and then it's about, all right, we've got a bit of time. Instead of trying to force it again through the middle, we sent Kolo Muani on a run, our striker, he's now gone. So we're just going to recycle, go out towards the wing, and then look at how many players we've taken out of the game with this. Meaning we can grab Kolo Muani, we can kind of get into that attacking zone now. We can look to move forward and kind of wait for the players to run. Sané opening up a lot of space, coming on the inside. That's an area on FC24 in the 4-2-3-1. You'll notice a lot more that your left attacking mid and right attacking mid will kind of come in and just offer. Like, this isn't a space that on FIFA 23 your left attacking mid would occupy as much. But on FC24, it just works a little bit more. They just seem to come in. Now, I like it at times. I don't like it at other times. But you can see how that transitions into the midfield and then into the attack. Obviously, we absolutely bottle the finish, but still a great chance. So in this 4-2-3-1, obviously you have your centre attacking mid, which I have Maddison in this role. They're going to occupy that space in between the midfield and the defense. Sometimes they can get a little bit lost depending on what the opponent is playing. If they're playing a 3-player midfield, it can really kind of congest them and get them a little bit isolated. But the idea is that you want to get them in that typical number 10 position on the pitch. What we can look for as soon as we look for the pass into these players here is to trigger the run on the striker. So you can see how before I've even received the ball here, I am tapping L1 and I'm pointing my left stick in the direction of Kolo Muani. That means Kolo Muani is going to get triggered on that run and create an opportunity for us to look for him. And it doesn't always work out, and that's not a problem. He goes offside here, a little bit slow in kind of getting that ball out my feet and going. So then I bail out on that original plan. I then turn back, I recycle using left stick dribbling, and then look at this. This is how you can just transition so much with one little turn. Because I faked going up here, the opponent's players are all pushing over. They're all pushing up into that area of the pitch because that's where they think the ball is going to go. One quick turn with that left analog stick to then recycle it back to the opposite phase of play. We can then work opportunities and have more space and work it away from where the opponent is. Maddison picks it up. The drill pass into Sané. Directional nutmeg. We drive. And right now, you're seeing my finishing is not good enough. Because the 4-2-3-1 is so good defensively, one thing you want to try and do is keep these centre defensive mids kind of pushing back all the time. You see how I grab Enzo Fernandez here and just move them back. I grab my left centre defensive mids when they've swapped over here, Statch, and I just move them back, protecting the passes into the defensive line, trying to block them out as much as I can. Then we know how the 4-2-3-1 works. What did I say? Get the ball into Maddison. Look to get into the cam and then play off on those triangles with the right attacking mid, left attacking mid, and the striker. The opponent knows this as well. He's scared of that. He doesn't want me going into that pass into the middle. If I go into Maddison, I can look for a 1-2. So instead, we can use controlled sprint by holding R1, RB, and driving in towards the wing, faking that on the inside. He commits on that inside ball, then let's go. Let's look to hit on that counter. Again, looking for that pass through. Kolo Muani using that body and the unreal chip. So again, we're going to step up and win the ball here with Konate. We go straight into the fullback. We look for the player lock, and again, tapping that L1 button as soon as we're about to receive the ball. This is going to tell our attackers in front of us to make a run. You can see Maddison going forward. Kolo Muani realizes, okay, Maddison's gone forward. I'm going to occupy the space that Maddison has left. Then Maddison drives into a great position. We fake the player lock. We go all the way to the byline and then the cut back. Just kind of showing how the 4-2-3-1 players can use their own intelligence in certain areas of when one goes into one pocket of space, the other one can fill up a different one. So we've spoke to you about how to use the 4-2-3-1. Now you need to know how to defend. If you click this video right here, I will show you how to defend on FC24.